So let's talk about when a function is increasing and when a function is decreasing. Okay? Now, whenever you're determining if a function is increasing or decreasing, remember you're always reading the graph from left to right, right? So always go from left to right. So for example, right here, if I'm going from left to right, all right, the graph is going down right here, right? So when the graph is going down from left to right, we consider this part of the function to be decreasing, okay? Now, if the function is going up from left to right, we consider the graph to be increasing at that time, right? So this would be increasing. Over here, the function is decreasing. And then over here, the function would be increasing, okay? So now what's important is you need to understand the relationship between when a function is increasing or decreasing and the derivative, right? So you notice the derivative we know is the slope of the tangent line. So let's say I draw a tangent line right here, right? Let's say if I draw a tangent line right here, you notice this slope would be negative, right? So whenever a function is decreasing, the derivative, right, will also be negative because the slope of the tangent line will also have to be negative if the function is decreasing. Now you notice if I draw a tangent line, let's say right here, this tangent line has a positive slope. So when a function is increasing, the tangent line will have positive slope. All right, so you have to remember the relationship is, all right, wherever a function is decreasing, the derivative is negative. Wherever the function is increasing, the derivative is positive. Okay? Okay, so let's take a look at this example here. So let's say we need to find out, right, when this function is increasing or decreasing, okay? Now, if this was a calculator problem, you can just graph this on the calculator, and then it's very easy to tell when it's increasing or decreasing, right? But let's say it's not a calculator problem, right? What you would first have to do is, step one, you need to find the derivative and then make it equal 0. So the derivative in this case is going to be negative 3x squared plus 6x. And then we want to make it equal 0. So once you make the derivative equal to 0, right, you want to solve for x. So I'm going to take out the GCF that I see. I'm going to take out negative 3x. That's going to leave me with x minus 2. So the values of x that will make these 0 is when x is equal to 0 and when x is equal to 2. Now, once you have these x values, what you need to do next is you need to make a sign diagram of the derivative, right? So our sign diagram, so we're using these x values. This is when the derivative will equal 0, right? But we don't want to know when it equals 0. We want to know when it's going to be positive or negative. So what you need to do is test some points. So for example, to the left of 0, I could use any x value, right? So let's say, for example, I use negative 1 here, right? Let's say I use negative 1. So if I plug negative 1 into here or here, what am I going to get? So negative 3 times negative 1, right? Negative times negative gives me a positive value, times over here negative 1 minus 2, that gives me a negative value. So positive times negative is negative. So I know to the left of 0, all right, the derivative is negative, okay? Now I'm going to do the same thing between 0 and 1. I'm going to pick a value to use to test. So I could choose 1, right? If I plug 1 into this x and this x here, I want to know if I'm going to get a positive or negative. So negative 3 times 1, that gives me a negative value. All right, positive 1 minus 2, it gives me a negative. Negative times negative is positive. Okay? Over here, I can use, to the right of 2, I can use the number 3. So if x is 3, I would end up with a negative, right? If x is 3 minus 2, that's a positive. Negative times positive is negative. So on your sign diagram, this tells you where the function will be increasing or decreasing. So wherever it's negative, that's where the function is decreasing. Wherever the function is a positive on the sign diagram, right, where it's positive, the function is increasing. Okay? So basically, it's decreasing when x is less than 0 or when x is greater than 2, and it's increasing, right, between 0 and 2, when x is between 0 and 2. Okay, so it's really easy to find out when a function is increasing or decreasing. Just remember these two steps. All right, find the derivative, make it equal 0, find the x values that make the derivative 0, and then once you have those x values, you want to make a sign diagram, test, all right, some points, or test some x values to find out when the sign diagram is negative or positive, and that will tell you, all right, where the function is increasing or decreasing. Okay?